Hello, reception. This week we're learning all about animals that live in the Arctic. The Arctic is a place far away where it's very cold and there's lots of ice and snow. And the animals that live there are very special because they have to be able to live in the really freezing cold temperatures. So this week's story is all about a polar bear. Polar bears usually live in the Arctic. It's called The Polar Bear That Went Boo by David Walliams. It's quite a long story, so I might miss a few bits out. Let's have a look. At the top of the world there lived a very cheeky polar bear. He was only little, but he loved giving the other big animals a big fright. Slowly he would creep up behind them and go, "Boo!" The other creatures would shriek as the cub would roll around hooting with laughter. Get him laughing, he scared all of his friends. The little cub's mama would ask him time and time again, "How would you like it if somebody said boo to you?" But he didn't listen. All the little cub longed for was to be big and fearsome like his papa. One morning a helicopter was spotted in the sky. News spread across the ice that a man was coming to the Arctic to make a television show. "We're going to be famous," the animals thought. They wanted to look beautiful on camera. The wrinkly walrus wanted to top up his tan, so he lay and sunbathed. The little cub crept up behind the walrus. "Boo! Ah!" He made him jump. The walrus was so shocked, he kicked up his back flippers and zoomed down the snow. Whoosh! Look at that big walrus, he's got big long tusks. Meanwhile, a platoon of puffins preened their feathers. Time to do boo number 2. "Caw, caw!" startled the puffins. They all flew away because the polar bear made them jump too. And they crashed headfirst into an iceberg. Uh-oh, who's he going to scare next? He saw a hole in the ice, and before diving down into the freezing water below, he was going to say boo, but who to? He spied a pair of killer whales, getting ready for the cameras. Look, he swam up closely. Boo! The poor whales smashed up through the ice and up into the air. They belly flopped, and then they landed. The one landed on his friend. Boing, boing. As the sun was setting over the Arctic, the cheeky cub spotted a very odd-looking human he'd never seen before. Oh, look, they can talk. This is a snowy owl. He couldn't resist one final boo! Uh-oh, the poor man leaped backwards and fell with a giant plop into the sea. The water was so cold that when he climbed out, he was encased in a block of ice. Uh-oh. The man was so angry, he glowed bright like a tomato, and the ice started to melt. "In all these years, I've never met such a badly behaved animal. An octopus tickled me, he's been sat on by a rhinus, and a pair of gorillas ate his underpants, but you are the worst." Uh-oh, I'm reporting you. "What kind of species are you?" asked the man. I'm a penguin." He fibbed. "You are not a penguin. Penguins live in the Antarctic, not the Arctic." "Okay, I'm a polar bear. And a tiny one at that," said the man. "Well, you have ruined it for all the other animals. I am not making my television show here now. I'll go to the Antarctic and make one about penguins." "What?" Uh-oh. The little cub watched as the helicopter left. All the animals were so sad they were going to miss their moment of fame. That night he trudged slowly back home, but as he entered his cave, boo! All the animals made him jump. The little cub stood up as if he was struck by lightning. Ah! He was so scared. Mama Bear was right. He didn't like being scared one bit. He learnt a big lesson. He was never going to play Boo again. Well, maybe one last time. Boo! Did you see all of the different animals in that story that live in the Arctic? Shall we see what they were? This animal is a walrus. It's big and flubbery with fins and a tail, and it's got 2 long tusks at the front of its mouth to help it break up the ice and find food. These special birds that live in the Arctic are called puffins. They're black and white and they have colourful beaks. Did you see these animals that live in the Arctic? They're called killer whales or orcas. And they live under the water where it's very cold. Are there any other animals? Oh! A snowy owl. They're white just like the snow so they can hide from predators. And of course we had the polar bear himself. I think that was all of the Arctic animals. Oh, there's a couple extra on this page. An Arctic fox, an Arctic hare. I'm not sure what this one is, I'll have to look it up. Thank you for listening to my story. See you soon.